it is unsurprising to see the airlines bouncing back this morning. They are going to like a cheaper jet fuel price, but are they going to get a cheaper jet fuel price?
Well, they probably will. The question is whether consumers will also get cheaper tickets. What you have seen is a reaction on the price side. As far as the consumer is concerned, you've seen these fuel surcharges. You've seen extra cost on baggage. We only had yesterday Delta announcing that. And that's probably something that will remain in the market for the foreseeable future. We just heard from Willie Walsh there. We've heard from other airline executives saying, not so fast. Yes, this is good news, but you can't just sort of swing the pendulum back via a single tweet, as it were. So this will take time to find its way and work its way back through the system once companies have gotten used to higher prices. And remember, the demand is there. There's still strong demand out there. The bookings are strong. So once you've locked in these higher prices, and you see people still buying the tickets, it'll be very hard for companies to sort of pare them back. So I would wager that over the next couple of weeks, you will still see these higher prices, particularly as we head into the peak summer travel season.
And what does this mean for the operators in the Middle East then, Benny? Because they really have reshaped the long-haul industry in recent decades. Qatar Airways, Emirates and the like. I mean, what are we expecting? How quickly are we expecting them to return to full force?
Again, it won't happen overnight. If you look at the last 5 weeks since the war started, they really pared back operations almost to zero and have slowly started coming back up. But remember, a lot of these aircraft remain grounded. Qatar Airways has quite a few aircraft sort of out of position. They've stored them in places like Spain. They have to bring them back. They have to bring crews back. And importantly, they have to bring back the story, the demand picture that people still want to travel through this part of the world. Do they want to be stuck there again? There is that concern. So that'll take time to get people back to rebuild the reputation, as it were, of these airlines. And one way to do that, speaking of prices, will be via lower fares. So if you're looking for low fares, that's probably the place to go. Emirates, Qatar, Etihad, they will all try and bring back demand through lower fares. But remember, the other airlines, you mentioned Lufthansa and Air France and so on, they've also not sat still. So they have pushed more capacity into the market, into routes like Asia and so on. So sort of unwinding all of these sort of changes, that's going to take a while, probably into the summer and if not beyond.
Benny, for a while it looked like maybe the US carriers were going to have an advantage. They would have access, availability when it came to fuel, to jet, and that was going to potentially work in their favour. Does that go away now? And what message do you think Ed Bastian delivers today when Delta kicks off its earnings?
Yeah, so as you said, Delta will have their earnings today, midday, and it'll be interesting sort of how bold the company might be in terms of its prediction. Will they issue a proper forecast? Might they refrain from one? That's something we'll be looking out for. A couple of weeks ago, a lot of the airline executives came together in Washington, D.C. for a big conference, and the mood was really quite jubilant. The demand was there. The people were booking. Some of it might have been sort of booking quickly now before fares rise. That's the big question, whether people will still rush to buy these tickets now. And, you know, as I said, the demand still is there, but it's an advantage that the US airlines have had for a while that might go away fairly quickly.